Okay. Well, I do believe, at least for myself, we tuned into the right chapter because this was so very much what I needed to hear tonight. I'm so grateful for this. Um, where was it? I think Leo reread it when, what was that line again? At the heart of every desire. And so the standard of success in life is not the things or the money. The standard of success is absolutely the amount of joy you feel. The basis of life is freedom, and the result of life is expansion, but the purpose of life is joy.
Well, what came to my mind when Leo read that is, I guess I must be very successful today because I had a very good night's sleep. I slept so well. So, it felt great.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Well, that's a great way to begin alignment, right?
Yep.
uh, any other thoughts on this chapter?
Yes,
Yeah.
there's on that same point. Oops, sorry.
Okay,
Go
go ahead. Go ahead,
Please.
Ellen.
Okay. I think I remember hearing Abraham say that the going towards the manifestation is like it said in the chapter, but the word, it's the excuse you're using to flow life through you, to flow the energy of creation. So like it said in the chapter, that it's not the manifestation that's the big deal. It's working towards it. It's the process of it becoming. That's what life is. But using the word the excuse really kind of resonated differently with me, saying like, oh, the job that I'm doing, or the house I'm working for, towards, or things. That's just my excuse for feeling good, for flowing. So just wanted to add that.
Yeah, yeah, no, thank you for sharing. I'm trying to figure out how to pose this question. I had a very unfortunate unfolding in my life occur this last week, and someone that's very close to me spoke very ill of me to someone else very close to me behind my back, and it caused a huge rift in my life. And I learned about it this week. And I love that in this chapter it talked about, where others are, and if they're not if you're not in connection with your source, you're not going to be, that I wish I could find exactly where it was in the chapter. Uh, um, do not worry about them or anyone else. It said something about, if someone's speaking that way or doing those things, then they're not in alignment with their source, and therefore they're coming from, this other place. It has really, really shook me in a lot of ways. And I've been on the mend and working to get back into knowing who I am, regardless of that. But in here it did talk about that if you were in some way resonating with that, it wouldn't come to me if I wasn't in some way resonating with that part of the experience. So I'm actually reaching out to my Abrahamers that are stronger than I for some advice here on on this subject, because it's been very painful for me, and I've been allowing myself to process that emotion, but I would like to have some feedback on that. And okay, we will start with Leo, and then we will go to Elena, and then we will go to Ellen.
Oh, there's so much to unpack on this chapter.
Yeah.
Well, first I want to go to, so what exactly is your question?
Yeah,
Because you said I'd like to pose a question, but I don't know if I heard what the question was.
I think it's about maybe me discovering what part of me resonated enough to this to allow it to happen. Although when I think about it that way, I feel like it was important for me to have this knowledge, because it was important for me to know about this. And so I'm not necessarily saying, I guess I'm grateful for the knowledge of it, but I suppose, It's like one of those things where I'm on the hot seat and I think I'm going to answer my, like, I don't know if I actually have a
All
question.
right. Well, well,
It's difficult
I,
because I go throughout my day but so far it hasn't been more than a few hours before it comes back and smacks me and I'm crying again. And I know that we have to allow ourselves that as well through the process of healing. But I guess I'm just, I don't know. I guess I'm just looking for some different opinions on how would you deal with that? Or, you know, what do you think? I'm not sure exactly.
I think I can help you word this into a question, but I guess my question in regards to your question is, this whole situation that happened where you had someone talking smack about you behind your back and then you found out about it. So like, what's like the overarching feeling around that?
Betrayal.
Betrayal, because maybe you knew this person for a while, maybe you trusted them, and then they kind of demonstrated, you know, who they really are. They showed their true colors, and it was a little shocking.
I've known them all my life,
Oh,
and we do have our history together. And there have been times in our life where I wasn't the best and the greatest. However, this experience was, I believe, them coming from that place. And then I'm I don't really want to go into the big details because it's,
right.
you know, but it was a they actually spoke with someone that that I was highly involved with a big project with, that
Mm.
decided to go away from the project because of what was said. And then
Oh, okay.
they ended up coming to terms with that and reached back out to me because they wanted me to know what really happened and why. And they wanted to apologize for allowing that to interfere instead of coming to me and talking about it.
Right.
So I'm sure you can kind of place it from there. You know enough about where I've been and what I've
Yeah.
been doing. So
Well,
it's been a real blow.
well, I'll tell you, I don't offer advice because whenever you offer advice, you're adding a vice.
Right.
But instead, I will offer a Leo informational tidbit.
Okay. I love it.
Okay. So a couple years ago, I had a situation with people that shall remain nameless where someone was saying stuff about me that wasn't true. They didn't have all the facts. And yeah, I know I'm lovable Leo, and how could that ever happen? Well, it happened. And this whole thing was because this person they just didn't like me because I triggered them, you know, but instead of having a discussion and talking about it, and it was all this stuff and all these rumors and baseless accusations and things that were just flat out just not true. And I realized that there was nothing I could do
Yeah.
because your perception determines your reality. And if somebody thinks the sky is green, there's nothing you can do to change their mind. Even if you show them the sky is blue, it doesn't matter because, to quote Star Trek, they're locked into a single intent, unable to change.
Yeah.
So once I came to that realization, I was like, okay, you know, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be okay. But
Yeah.
then they said all of this stuff to another person that I had known for like nearly 10 years. And this person believed everything this other person said, all of it. And so I wrote them an email and I kind of said, hey, here's the situation. This is what happened. Are you willing to discuss? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay. So I had to walk away from that situation. And it really bothered me because I felt betrayed because I thought that this person was someone that I thought they were, but then they showed me who they really were. And over the next several weeks, I kept having this recurring dream, at night when I was sleeping, that I was in this conflict with this person. And I would wake up like all freaked out and out of sorts. And I'm like, I don't want to feel like this. My subconscious mind is telling me something that I need to pay attention to. And then finally, I came to the realization that it's okay. I'm going to be okay. This situation wasn't to my liking or preference, but I respect their freedom to choose, even though I disagree with the decision. And I can forgive them, I can release them. And at the end of the day, karma never takes a vacation. So lovable Leo's going to be just fine, but it's eventually going to come back to them. And I wish them well. I wish them well. And then I had the dream again, but in the dream, they were attempting to argue with me. And I just looked at them and said, I don't want to argue with you. And I woke up and I haven't had the dream since. And that was, like a year and a half ago or whatever that was. So I understand the feeling of betrayal. It's a terrible feeling. But if you can get to a place within yourself where you can release that, you've really done yourself a great service, because you've liberated yourself from the conflict.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once you do that, then you're going to move forward in an awesome way. But I can sympathize with your plight. It might take some time to process all of that, especially if you've known them your whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. So if that helps you at all, I leave that with you.
Yes, and I definitely appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and big hugs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Elena? Oh, you're muted. There we go.
So I noticed that in the chat, Amparo said that she had been experiencing something like that. And oh my gosh, how much she did wrote in the chat. I did not read it. So I have something to say. I can either say it right now or later on if you want first people to share their experience about this. And of course, I do have my own experience about this. But I would say, I would say this. We people, we invite into our lives those people who are absolutely necessary right now at this moment. We are ready to interact and to even experience all the shit from them.
Yeah.
That is very important. Second, I wanted to say, the person talked about you behind your back, and it's hard for you to even form the question. So when Leo asked you, how did you feel? You said betrayal, which is a very strong negative feeling. What you want to do, you want to process that feeling. Process so you can see other variations of what you can experience. And of course, you want to process and let it go. And this is the hardest thing. The easiest thing to say to somebody, oh, you know what? Just kind of when you figure out what you feel and just kind of go forgive and let it go. Easy to say, not easy to do. What can help with this? Calibrations.
Yeah.
Have I offered you that I can give you a free session? I think I did. Here's your opportunity. Come to me, to my arms, and I promise you in 1 hour, you would even say something like, of course, in your own words, but you would say, why even was bothered by this? Like,
Yeah.
This is so understandable now, because when you understand the situation from the eyes of your higher self, it will be like nothing. Of course, you would understand why did it happen. And so forgive, let it go, kind of process this and all of this. I would say calibration. Come to calibration. I will help you to, first of all, to see this from the eyes of your higher perspective. And secondly, you would feel so much of universal love that this thing would be nothing to you. And so another thing I wanted to say, that what in the situation that you are in, and again, I had been in those situations, I know how it feels. At this point, it's hard to process everything rationally. Even, it doesn't matter how many times did you read this book. It doesn't matter, because your emotions, your negative emotions are at this moment blocking any rational thoughts that you know, that you own. And so in those situations, number one thing to do is deal with your emotions. Again, calibration would help tremendously. However, I want to say, every person, whatever we are doing, it's either act of love, speaking about Valentine's Day and love, it is an act of love, or it is a cry for love. I am assuming, without knowing situation, I am assuming that this person had been suffering from experiencing love, lacking this feeling of that person is lovable, or that somebody is loving that person. So that's why this person is just crying for love, expressing all the shit that is still holding, had been held inside.
Yeah.
And so,
That makes a lot of sense.
you
Actually.
know my number. Connect me for the calibration.
Okay.
You would
You know,
feel
it-
better in 1 hour, I promise.
It is really interesting. I know that this was a gift to me to work through. I do know that, regardless of my upsetness. But I did my energy under the stars meditation this last Sunday. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. I do that. And I am no longer doing it as a live in-person event. I am doing it as a live on YouTube. And so it was a very, very powerful meditation where I actually was working on breaking past, present, past life contracts, vows, and promises that no longer serve our best and highest good. And then within 2 days, this information came forward, and I feel like it was very important. I know it was connected to the work that we did with the meditation. There was a whole beautiful visualization with coming out with new skin and wiping off the ashes of the old. And I do feel like definitely that I opened up the opportunity to discover this. And it was something that I needed to know for
Let me
myself.
ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Since you are quite knowledgeable from Abraham Hicks, so when situations like that, like any difficult situation, forget about your whole situation, just generally speaking, whenever the difficult situation is coming, it is coming because I'm asking you, yes. I'm asking you, Christina. So the difficult situation is coming into somebody's life. What is the reason for that? Number one, this person is ready for that. Is ready to process. Maybe you don't know how to process, but you're ready for this situation, right? And you're ready to really work through those emotions. And what is the reason for that? Kind of the bigger reason, not this particular situation, but bigger reason for you,
Well,
or for
it's always
somebody. Huh?
it's always for the expansion, for the learning and the growth.
Exactly. That's what I had been looking for. I did not want to say this. Exactly, for the expansion. And so I'm so looking forward to see your huge expansion from this situation. The only thing that is stopping you, that negative emotion that is blocking, of course, who would want somebody talking behind your back? Nobody. And it's okay to be furious, to feel betrayed, to feel angry, to express even all of this. It's all okay.
Yeah.
Just calibration will help you to process this quicker,
Okay.
and obviously to come to the expansion much quicker.
Okay. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate that. Ellen?
And I love you.
Yes, I'm going to be quick, I promise.
Okay.
First of all, what somebody says or thinks of you is none of your business. That's one Abrahamism. Another is, I would see this as an example of somebody bouncing out of your experience because they are not in the same vibrational match as you are.
Yeah.
So I would that would be looking at this experience as a positive.
Yeah.
And then third, as Elena was saying, process, but instead of process, I would use the word do the energy work to change your vibration from the feeling of betrayal to something much softer. So look at it from the point of view of your higher being, like, oh, this person is coming from a fear-based belief, or if this person is believes in shortage consciousness, and that's why they're behaving this way, you know, kind of diffuse this situation using the energy work, which the book has so many steps in it. So
Yeah.
get the energy of betrayal out of your vibration so that it's not that way when you come back to think of it, because your energy is where you last left it for every situation. So you want to soften that and, as you said, grow from it and see this as a gift, as an opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
But my first thoughts when you were talking about this was what somebody says or thinks about you is none of your business, and then they're just bouncing out of your experience. You're at a higher vibrational level, and this is somebody you've known for many years, but you know you're not always going to be a match. So
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And I'm going to hop off because it's after 10 p.m. where I am, and I've got to go to bed.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Hugs to you and love to all. Bye.
Amparo?
Night. Lots of things, but I also have to hop soon, so I'm gonna do my best to be uncharacteristically synced. Um, so one is I've been through a lot of this, what many would consider to be severe betrayal over the course of the last decade. And I actually started to come back to the Abe groups because what kicked off the rounds of very severe betrayal was that I was trying to manifest a soulmate in my life. And it led to almost a decade of abuse. It was very severe betrayal, and that was just the beginning of it. So I speak from a lot of experience when I say it is a very personal topic, and I love you. And I love your heart, and I love your heart, and I love the journey that you're taking. So I had to go through a lot of reflection to get myself to a better feeling place about a lot of that experience, including how it related to the fact that I was so intentional in terms of trying to manifest something and it turned into something else. And so in my journey of coming back to Abe and sort of diving into all these topics, again, these conversations, a few things popped into my awareness for the first time or again. One was this story of I heard someone telling Abe, I went on a hiking trail and I almost died and I was rescued, and I don't understand why I attracted that. Why did I attract getting so severely hurt when I was going hiking? And then essentially the way that Abraham responded was, pay attention to the fact that you were saved. Focus there.
Yeah.
Focus on the fact that you were saved. And that brings me to the next thing that I've been really soaking in, which is take the bounce, right? We go through these contrasting experiences for a lot of reasons, including that our souls are calling us towards expansion. We can't stay stuck. We can't stay the same. So we sometimes go through really mucky, sandy experiences because our souls are wanting us to sift through it because we want more. We don't want a boring life. We want expansion, right?
Yeah.
And so, but what do? You self-soothe, you validate, you love yourself, and you take the bounce. So I kept saying to myself over and over and over again these past 2 months, take the bounce, take the bounce, take the bounce, take the bounce. And that's how to turn a really heavy experience like this into something that bears fruit for you, because that's what all these experiences can and do. Always, 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 without exception.
Yeah.
Without exception.
Yeah.
On the other side of muck, of heavy stuff, always. The worst terms in that always is something that was so much better than what was there
Absolutely.
before. And so one of the things that I had to not come to terms with, but one of the things that I sort of came to by way of all this reflecting was I went through that experience for a lot of reasons, including that I had a lot of contrast that I had to go through so that I would understand what love was and what it wasn't, and what care
Exactly.
was and what it wasn't, and what betrayal really was and what it wasn't. And so now I'm set up for the first time in this life, 37 years of age, to have like the beginnings of a healthy relationship because I went through all of that contrast. And I don't say that feebly or weakly. These are hard learned,
Yes.
hard earned lessons. But so a couple other things that I want to say really quickly, not being succinct at all. There's stuff that gets stuck in our vibration, right? So Abraham says you don't have to worry about things that are in your subconscious because you just have to lay new pipes. And what I actually think about that is that I think that we can be affected by things that are just underneath the surface. And so contrasting experiences pulls that from hiding and just below the surface and pulls it into a place of conscious awareness so that we can do something about it. That's one of the gifts of these experiences if we're kind to ourselves, which brings me to the next point, which is that these experiences present an opportunity for us to be so much better towards ourselves.
Yeah.
It's always an opportunity. It's not a given. It's always an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So I realized very recently that I'm very violent towards myself. I'm very loving towards other people, but I'm very violent towards myself. And it's because I normalized a lot of this stuff. But how did I figure this out? It's because of the experiences that happened to me that were so intensely painful that I started to become aware of these tendencies with myself. And so my word for the year, this is my first year having a word, is self-compassion, because I just knew I needed a completely new foundation of a relationship with myself.
Yeah.
And this is not my first time being very intentional about doing that, but this is the first time that I'm doing such a major overhaul in this way. And I've wanted to. I just didn't know. I didn't know because I didn't have the contrast before. I didn't know what I didn't know before.
Yeah.
Now I know. So let me see. I took notes. I'm trying to see if there's anything. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I forgot.
Thank you so much for
But
sharing.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have a feeling that our process is gonna be a wonderful opportunity to explore this a little bit as well. Ada, we're gonna have you speak and then we're gonna move into reading the process for the evening, okay?
Sure, Christina. There's always two sides of a coin, to things. And the side that I'm looking at is, isn't it wonderful that that other party, the other person thought so well of you to come back to you after they thought about it, let you know what happened and apologize, that they hadn't asked you in the first place. They thought enough of you. They could have just continued on and was just having a way to you, and you could have just wondering what happened, what's going on here, and never knew.
Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful? They
Yeah.
thought well of you.
Yeah. And that was a wonderful blessing to be able to receive that. I do agree. Thank you so much for that. Before we go into reading, I do just kind of want to point out that we do have other law of attraction groups. And so the links are posted and the information is posted in the chat. If you want to take a copy of that so that you know when to show up at the next amazing meeting, I highly recommend that you do that. We're going to go ahead and move into reading the process, and we'll do the same as we did before, 2 paragraphs. And let's see. I honestly feel like in some ways being reminded to let the manager delegate some of this is very good, at least for me in my personal, in the journey I'm on at the moment, to let some of it go, because I feel like even the information coming to surface was given to me that way, and so now I also need to allow that to become for me as well while I process through it. Any other thoughts on this process? Yes, Elena.
So I hope that my connection wouldn't interrupt. Isn't that cool how it happens? I think the universe just wanted somebody else to read that. Kind of maybe that was the most important for them.
Maybe so.
So I think I already gave this example because I talk about this a lot as an example. Quite often people are questioning like, why those things which are so important and so kind of difficult to do, how to manifest that? And I would give the example about me being on the road or, being in my happy Honda. It's easy. Anybody can try this, borrow this process, try it for yourself, and please share with me your successes. Anytime I'm going on a road, number one, I know that the universe had been arranged everything for me to purchase my favorite happy Honda. In a way, how the whole process went, I'm not going to talk about this. But what I'm doing each and every time I am coming to my happy Honda, I'm saying, hello, my darling, let's have a happy ride. And then, when I turn on the key, Vienna or Werner, who would come here, and obviously he will be tomorrow in my group, this Austrian guy, he knows me for over a year. And when I offered him to bring him to the airport, he was almost like shocked in a car when we are sitting in my garage in my car, and I start talking. I really am talking to the Abraham, and I'm saying something like that. Hello, Abraham. Thank you so very much for loving me that much. I love you so much for being with me this whole time and doing things and arranging everything on my behalf. I really, really appreciate that. So now we are going to the airport, and in Seattle, it's kind of hectic roads. And so I want this to be a very pleasant experience for me, first of all, because I'm behind the wheel. However, Abraham, would you be so kind and would you arrange everything that whenever I'm going on whatever lane, you manage which lane I'm supposed to stay? I will just listen to you. I will be staying on that lane, but please arrange that people around me would be so kind and so polite that people would let me go in if I need to, and people would go to the right and to the left and just allow me to go, especially in those the most difficult and jammed parts of the traffic. I want to come to the airport being relaxed, being joyful, just enjoying my ride because I need to come back, right? So let's just do that. When Vienna heard me saying this out loud, he was almost shocked. And he said, I thought you just talking about this at the meetings. I did not know that you actually talking with the Abraham like that. So he was shocked on that trip second time when by the time we came to the airport, I started to talk to Abraham again. And on the way to the airport, of course, every time we would come, he would say to me like, oh my gosh, we come into this area, it's always jammed. I would say, like, you shut up. It's none of your business. You are my guest here. I'm here with the Abraham. I have my own contract. So you just enjoy the ride. You don't say anything. Besides, if you want to say how great I am or something positive or appreciate me or appreciate Abraham, I don't care. But anything good, nothing bad is allowed of anybody to talk. So and then we come to this kind of the most difficult part of the road, and all of a sudden one car would go to the right, another car would go to the left, and then all of a sudden we're just driving with the same speed. And he is like, wow, that's so cool. How did you do that? I said, I have
a manager.
I have my contract, so I'm lovable. I'm the favorite child of the universe, and so on and so on. So, and of course, each and every time, even when I come to the stoplight and the stoplight had been red and we need to go, and all of a sudden the stoplight will turn to the green, right when I come to it, I would say, you, Abraham, I love you, I love you, I love you. And I would start dancing behind the wheel. So anyways, I do this all the time, all the time. So especially when it's not just kind of like 10 minutes drive, then I would do this. So when we came to the airport and I start saying, Abraham, I'm so grateful. Thank you for the fun ride. Thank you for this and this and this kind of different points on the road. I would be grateful and express my rampage of appreciation. And then I would say, Abraham, could you please take a look at my friend? This is Vienna, my Austrian friend. So because of he is my friend, and he really needs so many proofs how the law of attraction works. Would you please take care of him on my behalf, just because you love me? Could you please love him the same way? He's just like my brother. He is my friend. He's helping me. You saw this many times. So now when he's going to this trip, could you please take care of him? So what I would want you to do for him, and I would just start pointing out like, let him go through the security quickly and smoothly and easily. Can you make his flight comfortable? No delays, kind of all the good things. And when he comes to another airport, he could rent his car again nicely, easily, and the car would be so good and so comfortable, and it would smell so fresh, and whatever comes to mind, you know. I don't limit myself. I go wild with all of this. And then Vienna would be texting me, like on the way, he would text me, you wouldn't believe this. You know what happened? And And I'm like, of course I would believe this. I manifested this. I requested this from the universe, from the Abraham. And each and every time, again, I am going with rampage of appreciation. Thank you, Abraham, for loving me. Thank you for loving my friends on my behalf. Thank you for doing all of this. This is so important. And parking spaces. I'm queen of parking. Nobody does what I do, unless those people heard my stories and they would do the same process. Each and every time I would say, Abraham, I've heard this from Esther. Would you also help me with the parking so I don't have to even worry about this? I don't have to even think about this. Let me just come to the place and save a spot for me, the closest to the entrance, the closest available. How many times? I live in Everett, which is 40 minutes from Seattle. When we met at 6:30 or 7 p.m. Every week, just imagine how hot the traffic is about 6 p.m. when I would start driving. And when we would finish the meeting and come out and people like, oh, who did park like 2-3 blocks this way or 2-3 blocks that way? People kind of want to find who would accompany them. And then they would ask me, Elena, where did you park? And I would say, my car is right here. And they're like, yes. So exactly, talk to Abraham. They will arrange everything.
Yeah.
Of course, they will play with you. Sometimes I would come to the place and boom, no parking spots available. So at this moment, what is the most important? Not to become frustrated with this, but say, hey, Abraham, are you playing with me? What is the game? And I'm just assuming, I would just say out loud, are you saying that you want me, that I did drive too fast because I am Russian? And so I came early before you prepared the parking space for me? Okay, let's do this. I will drive around the block. One time, I would drive around the block and I want my spot by that time. I would drive around the block and no kidding. By the time I am coming to the same street, to the same block, all of a sudden somebody is taking off. And I'm like, of course, of course. And then another page of appreciation. And it's always working like that. Always.
It is so beautiful.
So the manager, my manager, guess who is my manager? The Abraham.
Thank you so much for sharing. Ada?
Yes, I was just wondering, like what everyone gathered from the reading as to what do we need to do to activate that task manager in our lives, which to me, like when I read that, I mean, unless I actually, owned a company and had a personal manager that could do it myself. Yeah, I'm just gonna finish my when I heard that, I was thinking, okay, that's almost like having your own assistant, whether a personal assistant or virtual assistant that does tasks like that. But I mean, I just wanted to know like what everyone like I mean, I heard something. From what I heard, it said that like it said something about formulating goals. So and that like to activate the manager, I think. I mean, is that what other people heard? Like what do you think, like what are some ways that we can practically activate that task manager in our lives to make that work for us?
There is another, it's funny because when I was like, is that the end already? There's another process that's a little bit similar to this, and it might help you kind of manage it in your head, but it's called the placemat process. Have you heard of that before at all? I'm not
Placemat?
I'm not sure which number it is in the book, but it's called the placemat process. And it's basically
MAP map.
Mat, like a placemat on a table.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So and what they suggest in that process is to, like, if you're overwhelmed with all the responsibilities and goals, like they're talking about this, and it's a way to kind of actively decide to turn it over to the manager. And it was about setting your goals for the day. So like on one side of the paper, you write, these are the things that I'm actually going to get done for today. And then on the other side of the paper, you write, these are the things that need to get done, but I'm going to turn that over to the manager. I'm going to turn that over to Source. I'm going to turn that over to Abraham. And it was a way for you to kind of, when they were talking about overwhelming goals or having so much responsibilities and trying to take it all on and you never get everything done on your to-do list for the day and all of that. It's like, okay, these few things are important that I need to get done. So I'm going to manage this. And then all these other things that are on my list that need to happen, I'm going to give that to you and I'm going to let you make that happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and has anyone like had any experience with that, or they like does it miraculously get done? Like what happens?
Well, I think yeah, there have been some experiences where things start to open up for you to get done, and I think that is where, going back to Elena's story and the parking spaces or the flow of traffic or whatever, she handed that over to Abraham and said, hey, let me let you take care of this for me so that I can have a smooth trip. And then all of the things conspired to make that happen. And so that was an example of that. But that's kind of where I would take it if you're wanting like a way to sort of.
Oh yeah, I have things, I mean, at home and like, work and stuff, paperwork and other sorting and things that I would like to hand over. Wish I had a real assistant. Yeah, I can start using that, like you said, for day to day,
Okay.
tasks and things.
And then Elena did put in the chat, thank you so much for that. You can refer to page 211, process number 10.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you, Elena and Christina.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm going to go ahead and Leo, I'll let you speak next. And then Elena, you have your hand up. And then after that, I think it will be good for us to call it an evening. Leo?
All right. I'm putting my hand down. So what I can say in regards to what Ada had said there is when it comes to having the universe act as like a manager, it's that you're in a co-collaborative, co-creative process. So you're both the manager, you're co-managing. So it's you pick the things that you need to focus on, and then the other sort of details that are in the quantum realm, you can kind of like delegate that and let that go, because then it's less of your time, energy, and attention focused on that. And then you can be more present with the other things that you need to be present with instead of, oh no, and then the thing, and da 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 da. It's like too much, right? So I do have a manifestation success story around that, but it's so long, I'm going to save it for one of Elena's meetups, which is tomorrow. So if you want to hear that, you have to come to Elena's meetup.
And
but yeah, it's
experiencing the fireworks.
yeah, it's just I was in management years ago. I was in it for 14 years, and when you're in that position, you learn pretty quickly you have to delegate because you can't do it all. So what I'll do is I'll focus on stuff like, okay, well, I'm going to get out of bed and I'm going to take a shower and I'm going to get dressed and I'm going to do all the quote unquote like human stuff, and then how all the other pieces fit together. I'm like, universe, you're just going to have to figure that out because I'm busy. Because like Abraham said, not my job. It's not my job to figure out every little element in the quantum realm of how it's going to show up easy and effortless. Like that's it's too many variables to focus on, because I know the universe already has a super awesome, great, better, faster, more efficient way of doing it. So I don't want to get in my own way. I'm not going to touch that.
Yeah.
So if that helps at all.
Yeah. And
yeah, because one can, it can be exhausting, trying to, it's like you can do it for a while, but after a while, it's very taxing. Trying to
And
catch
yeah,
up
and the thing is, when you become exhausted, that lowers your vibration, and then you're getting in your own way again. So if you want to keep your vibration as high as possible, you have to delegate. You have to do that. Because you only have so much time and energy throughout the day. So yeah, you have to like prioritize, prioritize and delegate. I think that's the two the two words I was looking for.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome so much.
Elena, did you still have something to add?
Yes, of
Okay.
course. Whenever there is Leo and me, just we are like we like to play ping pong.
Yes.
So or tennis, whatever. So what I wanted to say, I put process number 10, page 211. It is this placement process. And the next line is a process of hiring the angels. It's not on this book. It's a process that I borrowed from another greater Abrahamster who took it from another source. So every morning, this person is holding a meeting like a CEO or like a top manager. And he would invite, he has about 40 angels as of right now, or as of the time when I talk to him more often. And he would say, let's say he lives in Florida and he wants to come to Seattle, plans to come to Seattle, then he would say, okay, so let's see, what do we need to do? And he's sitting with his wife and they just writing down ideas. What do they want to do in Seattle and when they want to come and how long they gonna stay and stuff like that. So they just sharing those ideas with each other. And then he's saying, I guess the tickets, we can give this task to Michael. And Michael is the angel, his imaginary friend, the angel, and he's saying, Michael, so the tickets are on you. You arrange everything. And then where are we going to stay? Well, last time Peter did the great job. So let's let Peter to take care of this. And so every task he is given to the angels.
So that's a different angel. Peter, Raphael, Metatron.
Well,
All the angels.
I'm not that familiar with angels that you know, so it to me it doesn't matter. I just gave whatever names.
Yeah, but they're all angels. I liked it. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm enjoying the story.
And so he's giving those different tasks to different people. And then his wife would say, well, let's kind of stop talking about this for a while. Let's just kind of allow ourselves to gather more ideas. Let's talk about this afternoon. And then they talk about what they plan to do this afternoon. And the same thing, they give in task to the angels to arrange everything on their behalf. And guess what? Later on, because the key thing in this whole process, as well as what we've talked about, process number 20 and what is in the process number 10, same thing. Your deep belief and trust that, number one, universe is on your side. Number two, there are those entities, angels, Abraham, God, who are on your side and they are ready to work on your behalf. I do trust that. So for me, manifesting things like buying stuff is so easy like this. I even don't give too much thoughts to this because I know anything I would say, what is on my list, what I want or what I like, and then I would just add, and anything beyond that, you know my taste, you know my desire to buy things with big discounts, you know how much I enjoy that. So whatever like this and something better and something cooler and something na 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 na. So I'm ready for this. And I forget even thinking about this. I don't go shopping at all. At all. I never do that since I've learned the process. I never do this. So like my friend, he likes to give tasks to the angels. I'm not speaking to the angels. Why am I not doing this? Abraham, I'm gonna do that. So and then they are arranging something and they bring into your lap. How do they bring to your lap? Let's say you still would go to take a look at the tickets. And all of a sudden, the website or something will pop up onto your screen, like the company you never heard of. Or something will be just flashing and flashing and flashing in front of your eyes. And then you think like, okay, what is this? Okay, let me take a look. You take a look and all of a sudden you find in like unbelievable discounts. And you think like, no, that's not, this is not true. Like, no. And then, wait a second. And you did that? It was brought to you. That's how it works. And it works when you have this deep belief and deep trust that they are working on your behalf and they are bringing to you. You don't have to sit down and search for 3 hours. It will show up. That's how it works. Always. Promise.
There is having faith in that gap time. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Everest and Elena, birthday lady. I really love that. Yeah.
Yes.
I love that too. And when you're experiencing that, your belief will grow into this and your trust will grow into this as soon as you start believing. It's not like, lots of people saying, show me how it works, then I would believe. No, it's not working this way. It's working a different way. First, you believe in that. You trust that it is the way how it goes, and you trust that universe loves you. You trust that Abraham is working for you, and Abraham is doing, to me, Abraham is like my dad who adores me. And if Abraham adores me that much, of course, Abraham will arrange everything on my behalf. I personally don't have any doubts in that. I trust that. That's why it's working always.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's a beautiful
Love
note
it.
to leave the evening on. Yes.
Yeah. It's yeah, the key thing is like once you have the strong belief, then you will realize no reason to be fearful and all these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody. This has been a wonderful evening. I really appreciate everybody's input. And as always, I am walking away from this feeling so much greater.
And thank you, Christina, for your dedication and for everything you're doing here in this community and building this beautiful community.
Yes.
Look who you attract. All of those wonderful, amazing people. You are awesome.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody. Happy birthday, Elena.
Thank you.
Happy
That
birthday.
was a wonderful way
birthday.
to celebrate my birthday.
Oh, good.